Start small. Pick one law today. Offer real value to someone just one level above you. Master your appearance in the next room you enter. Conceal just a little more. Mirror a little deeper. The powerful are not gods. They're people. Predictable, ambitious, and waiting for someone who understands the real rules. The question is, will that someone be you? Because the game is always on. And now, you know how to win it.
He stayed formless. He cultivated multiple paths. He kept learning, kept evolving, kept one step ahead of the very people he'd connected with. He built his own quiet power base while remaining valuable to others. Marco smiled the last time they spoke. You've done it. You've become the prince. Today, Ethan moves through rooms that once terrified him. He creates connections not by chasing power, but by becoming power in human form. And the crazy part? He's still the same guy at heart, ambitious, driven, human. He just stopped playing the game like an outsider and started playing it like Machiavelli intended. You can do the same.
It wasn't about cruelty. It was about survival. Ethan learned to set boundaries with grace but steel. He helped where it served both sides. He cut ties, quietly, cleanly, where it didn't. He created just enough respectful distance that no one dared take advantage. People began to fear disappointing him more than they feared losing him. And with that respect came something deeper than friendship. Loyalty born of awe. Finally, the 10th law, the one that separated survivors from legends. Stay adaptable. Never become trapped by your own success. The world changes. Alliances shift. The powerful fall. Ethan watched mentors lose everything because they clung to old plays.
He didn't claim credit. He simply made sure Victor knew who had made the strike possible. Machiavelli had praised Cesare Borgia for exactly this: waiting, preparing, then moving with terrifying speed when fortune turned. Ethan's reputation as someone who made things happen at the perfect moment spread quietly. Doors that once required knocking now opened before he reached them. The 9th law nearly destroyed him. As his circle widened, old friends from his struggling days resurfaced, asking for favors, leaking information, trying to ride his coattails. Ethan faced a brutal choice. Marco's voice was cold. The 9th law is merciless. Command respect through calculated strength, and never hesitate to distance yourself from those who weaken your position.
By the end of the weekend, the mogul was introducing Ethan as one of us. Marco called it the ultimate social alchemy. You don't climb by being different. You climb by becoming familiar, then indispensable. But familiarity alone wasn't enough. The 8th law demanded perfect timing. Fortune favors the prepared and the bold. Ethan watched opportunities slip away from people who hesitated. He learned to read the room, the market, the mood. When Victor's biggest rival made a public mistake, Ethan quietly positioned data and connections that let Victor strike at the exact right moment. By now, Ethan was inside the machine. He attended the closed-door dinners. He heard the real conversations. And he discovered the 7th law. Mirror their world until they forget you're not one of them. Powerful people live in a different reality. Different jokes, different pressures, different shorthand. Ethan studied it like a language. He adopted their references, their pace, their subtle status signals. Not imitation that looked fake, but genuine familiarity that created instant comfort. At one ultra-exclusive retreat, he found himself beside a reclusive media mogul who distrusted outsiders. Ethan didn't pitch. He simply spoke the mogul's language, referencing obscure industry history, matching his dry humor,
understanding the unspoken rules of the room. Marco was furious when Ethan confessed. Never reveal your full hand. The sixth law is sacred. Conceal your true intentions until the moment they serve you. Ethan spent weeks repairing the damage. Back to subtle value, back to quiet competence. He learned to speak in half-truths and strategic silences. He let others fill in the blanks with whatever flattered them most. Machiavelli himself had survived the brutal politics of Florence by mastering this. He wrote The Prince in exile, yet the book itself was a masterclass in calculated revelation, dedicated to the Medici family while hiding deeper warnings. In the modern world, Ethan watched the same play out. Executives who smiled warmly in meetings while their real moves happened off-stage. Influencers who projected vulnerability while guarding their real agendas like gold. The lesson saved him. He rebuilt trust by becoming predictable on the surface and completely opaque underneath.
Each gesture was genuine, yet strategic. Machiavelli understood human nature. People hate feeling indebted, but they love feeling generous when the debt is repaid in loyalty. Soon, Ethan wasn't asking for introductions. He was being offered them. Victor began casually mentioning Ethan's name in rooms where deals worth millions were made. The obligations had become invisible chains of mutual benefit. But Ethan almost lost everything when he broke the fifth law. One evening, flushed with early success, he let his guard slip in front of Victor. He hinted at his long-term ambitions too openly. He revealed just enough of his strategy that Victor suddenly saw him as a potential threat rather than an asset. The invitation slowed. The warmth cooled.
Marco laughed when he heard the story. Machiavelli would be proud. Now the real games began. As Ethan's access grew, he learned the painful fourth law. Create obligations that bind stronger than contracts. Powerful people don't help you because they like you. They help you because they need you, or because they owe you. Ethan started small but deliberate. When Victor mentioned his daughter was struggling with a college application essay on leadership, Ethan quietly connected her with a top writing coach he'd once helped. No bill, no mention of favors, just quiet value. When a gatekeeper's mother fell ill, Ethan used a distant connection to get her into a specialist faster than normal channels allowed.
Ethan had done his homework. He knew Victor's biggest weakness, fear of being outmaneuvered by a rival investor group. During the meeting, a competitor subtly criticized Ethan's approach. Most people would defend themselves. Ethan didn't. Instead, he smiled, acknowledged the point, then calmly dismantled it with facts that also highlighted how the rival's own past investments had failed in exactly the way Victor hated. He did it so elegantly, so respectfully, that Victor never saw the blade. Later that night, Victor pulled him aside. "You remind me of someone I used to know," he said. "Sharp, dangerous, in the best way." Ethan had become indispensable, not by begging, not by pretending, but by combining cunning observation with decisive action. In modern terms, Ethan saw it everywhere. CEOs who fired underperformers quietly but announced bold visions loudly. Politicians who projected strength while making ruthless backroom deals. The mask wasn't dishonesty, it was strategy. But Ethan's biggest test was still coming. He finally got invited into Victor Kane's inner circle for a private strategy session. The room was small. The stakes were enormous. Victor was deciding which startups to back for the next funding round. Ethan's project was on the short list, but so were others run by people with far better pedigrees. This is where the third law revealed itself. Be the fox and the lion. Cunning enough to see traps, bold enough to strike when the moment is right.
At a high-stakes investor dinner, Ethan sat next to a notoriously skeptical hedge fund manager. Instead of pushing his own story, he asked questions that showed he understood the man's world. He dressed the part. He spoke the language. He looked like someone who already belonged at the table. By dessert, the hedge fund guy was leaning in, sharing confidential insights he rarely gave outsiders. Ethan realized power doesn't always go to the smartest or hardest working. It goes to the one who appears powerful, the one whose presence feels natural, inevitable, trustworthy. Marco later shared the story of Cesare Borgia's infamous minister in Cesena, the cruel enforcer Borgia used to pacify a rebellious province, then publicly executed in the town square when the job was done. The people were both satisfied and terrified. Borgia had controlled the appearance of justice perfectly.
Machiavelli had warned about this 500 years earlier. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. So Ethan began studying the second law. Master the art of appearances. Become what they expect to see. He didn't fake it. He crafted it. He upgraded his wardrobe. Not flashy, but quietly expensive. The kind that signaled taste without screaming money. He practiced posture, voice modulation, even the way he held eye contact. Confident, but never arrogant. He mirrored the subtle mannerisms of the rooms he entered. Calm confidence in tech circles, measured gravitas in finance crowds. Over the next months, Ethan turned this into an art. He started small, offering free research to mid-level gatekeepers. He solved tiny problems for assistants before ever meeting the bosses. Each act created a quiet obligation. People began introducing him upward, not because he asked, but because helping him helped them. Marco nodded approvingly when Ethan reported back. You've learned the first secret, but appearances are everything. Ethan soon discovered how brutally true that was. He watched a brilliant but socially awkward colleague get passed over for promotion after promotion. The guy had better ideas, worked harder, yet the bosses barely remembered his name. Meanwhile, a slick but less talented operator rose fast because he looked like he belonged.
He simply positioned himself near the coffee station later, casually mentioned to a mutual connection, a mid-level executive he'd befriended earlier, that he had a fresh angle on the exact issue Victor was facing. Word traveled fast in small circles. Within an hour, Victor's aide approached Ethan. The conversation was short. Ethan offered one sharp, data-backed insight. No resume, no begging, just pure value. Victor's eyes lit up. He handed over his personal card. Send me the full breakdown by tomorrow. That single interaction opened the first real door. The lesson hit Ethan like lightning. Powerful people are surrounded by takers. They're exhausted by flattery and requests. The rare person who shows up with a genuine solution becomes magnetic. You don't climb by asking for favors. You climb by becoming the favor.
Ethan's first real test came at an exclusive industry conference. He had a ticket only because he begged a low-level sponsor contact. The keynote speaker was the very billionaire from that rooftop nightmare. Let's call him Victor Kane. Victor controlled billions in venture capital. One conversation with him could change everything. Ethan's old self would have rushed over, resume in hand, eyes wide with desperation. But he remembered the first law Marco had drilled into him. Never approach power as a beggar. Approach as the answer they didn't know they needed. Instead of chasing Victor, Ethan spent the day listening. Really listening. He overheard Victor complaining to an aide about a supply chain crisis crippling one of his portfolio companies. Ethan had spent months studying exactly that problem for his side project. He didn't interrupt. He didn't pitch.
That night, the professor, let's call him Marco, became Ethan's unlikely mentor. Over cheap wine in a tiny apartment lined with ancient books, Marco didn't lecture. He told stories. Stories from 16th century Florence, where Machiavelli himself survived exile, betrayal, and torture by mastering the invisible art of influence.
Stories of Cesare Borgia, the ruthless son of a pope who built an empire through sheer calculated brilliance. And stories of modern titans who use the exact same moves today. Power, Marco said, leaning forward, is never given. It is taken. Quietly, cleverly, relentlessly. And the first move is always the same.
He took a soul-crushing entry-level job at a mid-tier consulting firm. Nights were spent grinding side projects, weekends at free events, hoping to meet someone. He failed, spectacularly. He watched colleagues with half his talent skyrocket because they knew people. He saw influencers with zero substance get funded while his polished pitches got ghosted. The frustration nearly broke him. Until that rainy Tuesday in a dusty used bookstore. He pulled out a worn paperback of The Prince. The owner, an old Italian professor with sharp eyes, noticed and smiled. Most people read it wrong, he said. They think it's about ruling countries. It's about ruling rooms. About ruling opportunities. About ruling people.
And tonight, through Ethan's wild, heartbreaking, and ultimately triumphant journey, you're going to learn all 10 of them. Not as dry theory, not as numbered chapters, but as living, breathing stories you'll never forget. Stories that will make you lean in, heart racing, wondering what happens next, until the very last word. Because by the end of this, you won't just know how to connect with powerful people. You'll be dangerous. Ethan grew up in a Rust Belt town, where the biggest dream was a steady paycheck at the factory. But something inside him burned. He read every biography of self-made legends. He moved to the city with 2 suitcases and a laptop.
Most people think Machiavelli was just about ruthless kings and bloody betrayals. They're half right. But the real genius of the prince, and the reason his ideas still rule boardrooms, capitals, and private jets today, is that it's the ultimate manual for social climbing, for turning invisible ambition into unstoppable influence, for creating connections with the most powerful people on Earth without ever looking desperate, weak, or obvious. This isn't some fluffy networking tips video. This is the raw, unfiltered truth about how the game of power actually works. The hidden laws that the elite have used for centuries. Laws that most self-help gurus are too scared to tell you. Same rooftop, same billionaire. But this time, Ethan is standing right beside him, laughing at an inside joke, exchanging numbers like old friends. The billionaire is introducing him to senators and venture capitalists as my guy, the one you need to know. Ethan isn't begging anymore. He's the one being sought after. What changed? Ethan discovered a 500-year-old playbook written by a man who watched empires rise and fall from the shadows of Renaissance Florence. A man named Niccolò Machiavelli. The same man who taught princes how to seize and keep power with nothing but sharp wits and colder strategy. Across the marble floor, a young guy named Ethan hovers near the bar. His suit is rented, his palms are sweaty. He spent months trying to get into this room, cold emailing assistants, showing up at every networking event, even volunteering for a charity the powerful man supports. He finally gets 10 seconds of eye contact. He blurts out, "Sir, I'm a huge admirer. Could I get your advice on my startup?" The billionaire smiles politely and turns away to someone else. Ethan leaves that night feeling smaller than ever. He did everything right. He worked hard. He was polite. He showed up. Yet the door to real power slammed shut in his face. Now, fast forward 3 years. It's a crisp evening in Manhattan. Crystal chandeliers sparkle above a private rooftop gala. The air smells of expensive champagne and quiet deals worth more than most people's lifetime salaries. At the center of the room stands a man who could make or break careers with a single nod. Tech billionaire, political kingmaker, the kind of person whose phone calls move markets and rewrite laws.